Hello, Martin. How are you doing? This is Frank.
Oh, hi Frank. I'm Martin. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. I'm currently working as a part-time coach in ShowOffer.io here. I have conducted over 100 coaching sessions on this platform. It's nice to talk with you today. Can you let me know a little bit about your current interview status right now?
Yeah. I I recently had a E6, so kind of staff level interview at Meta last week. The recruiter just told me that they didn't gather enough signals from my behavior interview, so they'll schedule a follow-up round in 2 weeks. So for this like coach session, I wanted to gather some feedback from my behavior interview to see if there's something kind of I did wrong, or maybe get some suggestion how I can prepare for the follow-up round in 2 weeks.
Sounds good. Let's get started with today's mock session. Especially I may focus more on the coaching side. I will ask you different sets of behavioral questions with like follow-ups. But after each set, I will pause and provide you with the feedback, including like what is the red flags in your answer, why it hurts your interview performance, and how your story can be better tailored.
Gotcha. Sounds great.
Cool. Let's come to the first question set about introduction and vision. So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and the vision of your current team?
Sure. I have been in software engineer for just over 10 years. I started in a small startup working across backend and data infra, which gave me a very good foundation in the distributed system. Starting from 5 years ago, I joined the AWS team and have been with the S3 storage organization since then. I currently working in the cross-region replication and reliability team. We make sure the customer data is replicated across regions in a durable and efficient way. It's kind of very critical for AWS because AWS guarantees the durability even during region level outage. Our team owns much of the infra that handles the data replication and all the like operation and monitor tech stacks. The vision of our team is to provide an easy to use and cost-effective replication method. Personally, I contribute to the multiple efforts, from prototyping tooling for operation visibility to helping resolve how past replication performance issues. I've also been working on improving our integration with like telemetry systems to better capture anomalies in replication timing. Um, while I'm not defining the team roadmap directly, but I do provide input into planning and work very closely with the TPM's team, product manager, and also cross-functional tech leads to drive the key deliveries.
Thank you for your answer. What does providing input into planning look like for you? Are you involved in roadmap definition?
So I won't say I own the roadmap, but I participate the roadmap reviews. I will comment on the feasibility, like talk about some risks, and offer like suggestions to the roadmap. Uh, if something seems under scope or missing, so I will flag it to the leadership. In terms of prioritization, I usually like defer that to like the more senior tech lead in the team, or maybe like PM, unless it's kind of my direct project.
Okay. So, how do you align your work to that team vision in practice? Can you give me an example?
Yeah. One example is with the replication alerting dashboard I work on. We had lots of noisy in our alerting for replication lag. So I built a new dashboard that surfaces lag trends by the like object size to and across the different kind of data patterns. It doesn't direct change the customer experience, but it helps the SRE team, which is kind of our partner team, and the engineers to debug the issue much faster. It kind of ties back to our goal of operational resilience, because you cannot really have a durability without some like monitor and visibility of how the system works overall. Another example is like some work I did for automating the replication retries. Previously, the auto failures debugging required manual intervention, and I add a like small script to parse the logs and from the job and queues, so that it can retry automatically under certain like different like certain type of failures.
Okay. So like I said, I will pause it here. So this is the first question, and also the follow-up question regarding the introduction and the vision. Um, I think there are several obvious red flags. So I noted down about three. The first red flag is about the blurred leadership identity. The second one is about tactical framing of the alignment. The third flag is about accountability in leadership. So I think for the first one, um, to let you know what is the blurred leadership identity. So you don't make it clear when you own our versus what you support. Like saying I contribute in many ways and I don't define the roadmap. Makes you sound like a stronger senior engineer, but not a staff level engineer. So this is a common red flag that lacks enough scope in your target level during the interview. For the second red flag, I would say is like related to the tactical framing of alignment. I think for both the examples you provided, dashboards and scripts, so those are tools, not strategic levers. Nothing wrong with them, but Meta specifically expects like alignment through systematic or architectural shifts, not just the operational polish. And for the third red flag, I would say is like the accountability in the leadership. I think you mentioned about the framing sentence, like I usually defer to our tech leads. This is signals a lack of proactive leadership. So as for a staff engineer, you need to shape the direction. So usually staff engineers don't just weigh in and step back. And you also need to show your accountability and ownership when coming to the hard decisions. So based on that, I noted down what you mentioned. I quickly recap and let's see, maybe I can give you a tailored answer about that. So basically, based on your answer, you describe your background. You have 10 years in total, last 5 years in AWS in the S3 storage team. You mentioned about working on the cross-region replication reliability. You have contributed to multiple efforts. You mentioned about tooling for telemetry and automation. You don't own the roadmap, but provide input. So with that said, here's my tailored answer. You could be answer something like, I've been working in this industry for over a decade, and in the last 5 years, I have spent in AWS, specifically in the S3 storage org. I joined to deepen my focus on the distributed system and working infrastructure that truly operates at planet scale. Currently, I'm a SD3 in the cross-region replication reliability system. My mission of the team is to make sure that the customer data is replicated across multiple regions in a way that is invisible, reliable, and cost efficient, so that during like region level failures, customer data is available instantly. So over the last 12 to 18 months, I've been leading a shift in how we think that replication resilience from a reactive, alert-driven model to a proactive observability and a prediction-based model. So this work include on the real-time telemetry metric pipelines, developing a standard for how replication lag is tracked across services and collaborating with our SRE org on the policy changes. So for the roadmap, well, I don't directly own the roadmap. I've initiated and driven multiple roadmap items, including a reliability budget framework that now part of our quality planning. And I also lead cross-team working groups to align on lag definitions and instrumentation gaps that affect the customer recovery time. So, based on this tailored answer, you can avoid those red flags to show your leadership role, to show your identity, and also to clearly illustrate how you build the roadmap as a key contributor to map with your team's core vision. Cool.
了解。
Yeah. Let's come to the second question set about the project deep dive. Um, can you walk me through a recent project that you are proud of? So it's better something that aligned with the core vision of your team.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha. I would say one of the most impactful project I was involved was revamping our replication logic. For context, we were constantly getting customer escalations around delayed restore operations, particularly when restoring a large like volume of data. So after a kind of region failure, uh, well, the SLA were technically being met, but the customer experience was very bad, especially in the like high throughput like scenarios. It is hard to identify the true problem. We initially thought it was a network like saturation issue, but the data showed that our batch-based replication queue processing was introducing like cascading lags. It was reactive and slow to adapt to the sudden increase of the like workload of the whole system. I worked with like a few other engineers from different team to propose a more dynamic event-driven model. We introduced an internal stream of the object change notification and built a lightweight replication scheduler that use this streaming to enqueue and prioritize replication jobs. This kind of required like coordination with like three other team. Besides our team, I need to talk with like S3 metadata team, Kinesis team, and our internal like also sometimes with telemetry like team for all the data pipelines. I personally handle the integration logic between the scheduler and the notification stream. And I also did a lot of debugging during all the initial rollout. So especially when the new scheduler would fall behind under the unpredictable like spikes during the whole process. We launched a canary into a very low logic region first, and then progressively ramp it up. The improvements were obviously for the first couple of days, but over the course of like few months, we saw the average replication lag reduced from 17 minutes to roughly 2 to 3 minutes in the optimized path. It's still not like globally adopted yet, but I would say we are working on finalizing the fallback path before we can like expand further to the whole world.
Okay, let me note this down. Cool. So what was your role in initiating this project?
Um, I won't say I was the first to initiate the project, but I kind of support lots of escalation kind of were already coming to our team. I was the one of the early voice in the engineer like team pushing for deeper like investigation to similar like issues. I think a lot of people assume it was just a minor like glitch, but I helped to compile enough internal data to show it was actually a systematic like failure in our system. I drafted a short write-up summarizing the lag trends and potential root causes. It helps kick off like deeper investigation eventually.
Okay, so how did you track and communicate progress to your stakeholders?
Um, Mostly, I recall it through the weekly status update in our meeting Slack channel. I also like presented some early metrics in the engineer all hands. For the cross-team partners, we had a bi-weekly meeting with a shared document for dependencies. I wasn't directly like responsible to communicate with our like engineer leaders, but that was like because that kind of handled by our like PM partners.
Okay, I think that's all my related questions for the project deep dive. Similarly, I will pause it here and give you my reflag and also how we can tailor your answer. So coming to the red flags, as I noted down, I think there are three main red flags. The first one is passive ownership. The second one will be lack of strategic communication. The third one will be over-indexing on the execution. So for the first red flag, passive ownership, I think the wording you are using, like I want to say I was the first to raise it, or I was one of the early voices, it signals a lack of initiative. A staff level software engineer should own the whys as well as the how. The second red flag is like the lack of the strategic communication. So tracking where Slack or Confluence is fine for team level updates, but there is no mention of influence, execute buy-in, or shaping org priorities. The third red flag I noted down is over-indexing on execution. So you're doing a lot, but you failed to frame the story. This is one of the most common staff class traps. So being a technical anchor without a narrative arc. So to recap your answer, what I heard here is you worked on a replication lag issue and coordination logic. Describe the debugging, batching tuning, shift to event-driven model. You build canaries, partner with three other teams. You said I wasn't the first to raise it, and you didn't drive leadership communications. You focused earlier heavily on the technical details, less on the ownership results. So here's my suggestion on your tailored answer. Just let you to refer. Um, One of the biggest impact projects I led recently involved reducing replication lag across S3's cross-region durability path. The team is seeing a pattern of customer escalations related to restoring latency, even though they're technically meeting SLA. I started digging into the metrics and correlated queues, backlogs with specific bursty object restore behaviors that weren't being prioritized correctly. I authored a problem statement memo that outlined the mismatch between our replication model and the new data access patterns. That memo kicked off a working group I led across three teams: the metadata indexing, the replication coordination, and the telemetry pipelines. The core contribution was a redesign of the replication scheduler. It moved from a fixed internal batch queue to a streaming model that we can say prioritize object dynamically based on the metadata tags, replication class, and access frequency, etc. And you can say I owned the core schedule logic, implemented fallback handling with canvases, and drove the the deployment strategy across two canary regions. And as a result, it reduced the replication tail latency from whatever you can say, like around 20 minutes to like 2 minutes in high volume cases, and cut whatever X% of your retry traffic. And I also created the first dashboard that let us correlate S3 object tags with replication backlog in real time, which became a reference for the three adjacent teams. So I think based on this, you can see how you emphasize your ownership, how you proactively drive the strategic communications, and how you show not only a strong execution on your level, but also stating about how you frame this story with your, path to success and with a clear impact and the results from the ending. Does it
Got you,
make
got you.
sense?
Nice. Yeah, thank you so much. Those are like great feedback.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's get down to the third question set. Let's talk about the influence and alignment. Um, let's zoom out a little bit and come up with this part. So, how did you work with other teams to get buy-in and move this project forward?
Cool. So for me, there was a fair amount of cross-team work, especially with metadata team and network team. Metadata team on the object change we need, and the networking team was also like has initially had concern that pushing the replication faster than before would eventually increase the traffic cost. So there was some hesitation about whether the project was even like necessary. So I think the customer escalation wasn't really visible to everybody. So part of my job was to bring the data to the meetings and show how the like tail latency was dropping. We initially had a few meetings with the stakeholders, mostly at the engineer manager level. Uh, there were like disagreements. For example, the metadata team wasn't sure we would hook into their notification stream because of the replication concern. I worked with one of their like senior engineers to define the retry logic and error handling logics. Overall, it took some time, but once people saw that we were adding load, we were sorry, but once the people saw we actually didn't really add load, and the new model was kind of operating much simpler than before, they eventually on board to our new solutions.
I see. So curious, did you encounter any leadership pushback or resourcing concerns?
I actually uh, do not get like direct leadership pushback, but the biggest challenge was getting time from like other teams. So since this wasn't on anyone's roadmap initially, it was very hard to align on priorities. I didn't escalate formally. I just kept showing up to the meetings, pushing progress forward. Eventually, luckily the momentum built, and other teams started investing more time.
So what would you do differently if you had to run this project again?
That was a good question. Let me think. Um, I think I probably won't push for broader alignment earlier. Uh, it felt like we were like keep providing the value of the project for the whole time, instead of like we have alignment early on. And also, I'll probably write a, a one pager more clear at the beginning, so it was more reactive than we actually like planned.
Cool. Thanks for your answer for this question set. So yeah, but let's pause it here and I'll give you some my observations and suggestion here. As for the red flags from your answer, what I noted down is about three. The first red flag is about your influence looks really soft, and there should be some necessary, escalations if needed. The second one is there's no roadmap inclusion. The third red flag will be it missed a little bit leadership moments to reflect your significance and in your technical leadership parts. So for the first one, soft influence. I remember you mentioned about I didn't escalate formally, I just kept showing up. So those kind of the words implies to me that the influence by persistence from your side, not by strategic leverage. As a staff level engineer, you need to navigate organizational friction intentionally. For the second red flag, like the no roadmap inclusion, I think this project, overall speaking, it wasn't tied to any roadmap or you didn't push it to make it one, right? So that shows a low prioritization influence. The third red flag, I would say, is like missed leadership moments. So for your answer of the follow-up question, it reviews the self-awareness. Yeah, should have aligned earlier, but there's no growth arc. Growth arc means no evidence they are applying that learning for now. So based on your answer contents, like you mentioned about the metadata, networking teams, you faced skepticism around notifications and bandwidth, kept attending meetings, didn't escalate formally, recognize the way you should have aligned earlier, and not mention of the roadmap or strategic buy-in. I think there's a lot to improve. The example answer could be like, you can answer like, getting buy-in across teams was one of the most complex parts of the project. I knew early on that replication lag was a systematic problem, but it wasn't on any team's roadmap yet, including ours. So I started by building a stakeholder map. I identified four teams that either owned key systems or would be impacted, such as metadata, networking, S3 events, and observability. I held one-on-ones with each team's lead ICs and the EMs, walked them through the latency correlation data I had, and gathered concerns. Things like you can take this example like added stream load, telemetry compatibility, and something like bandwidth caps. You could also say I escalated through my director to align leadership on this being a Q2 priority. I co-authored a short cross-team proposal that reframed the issue in terms of customer SLA risk and potential cost savings, especially in the context of failover compliance for tier one customers. So you could also mention the proposal can lead to two teams dedication engineers to the working group and formalize the work stream into a quality roadmap for all involved orgs. So coming to the follow-up question, right? If I were to do it again, I'd align even earlier with our TPM and surface the SLA risk through our planning docs instead of relying on the ad hoc meetings. But that learning was already shaped how I run new initiatives. I now front load alignment even before kicking off the design parts. So as you can see, adding these details, adding this the statement, so it's another way to reframe your story and also emphasize your technical leadership, your effective communications, and also how their collaborators, stakeholders can get effective buy-ins. So this is kind of a results. And hopefully this tailored example can give you a good reference and you can offline make it better preparation based on some code structure to make the whole story more thorough and targeting to the staff level in Meta.
Yes, thank you so much. That's very helpful. I will revisit my response based on your example. And what I think is best the red flag. That's probably the most like important and helpful ones. I'll be mindful of all those red flags you share with me today. Thank you so much.
Cool.